Hello friends, Thor here. Welcome to second session of SEOW video guide. I have here some to-do list. So we're gonna go in this session, we're gonna go through this dots, SQL jog, scripts, radar log. We will build actual mission. We'll try to merge red and blue side of that mission, settings on the CDCS program itself. We will edit the object specification table in this campaign we're gonna try to make, and we're gonna initialize this campaign. Also, I will show you how to add additional forces to already built campaign. Then I'll explain and of course create task forces. We're gonna go through creation process of control points and industrial areas. So let's not waste our time and let's go. After last session, few people told me that hide the SQL, which I'm supporting and actually recommending because it's easy. It's easy for me, and it's kind of free, so this is why I'm using it, but it's damn slow. So you could notice that for some of you guys it takes way too long, and of course people usually think they did something wrong and it's not working or what the hell is going on, but everything is okay. It's just slow. Here is another program which is called SQL jog. Uh, it's way faster than Heidi itself, but of course it's not free. It costs some money, so I, I cannot recommend something which costs money, even though it's a good program, probably for a lot of you guys way easier and more powerful than Heidi. But I used to do in Haiti, and I'm doing it the old way, slow way, let's say. So let's open the SQL jog just to compare the things, not in actual time, but you will see in immediately how faster this thing is. So I have here ultimate version of the program. Um, First of all, yes, I need to start the local server first. Otherwise, I don't have web and I don't have SQL database on. Okay, it's online now. Now we can go through this. So, what? Oh, it's here. So over here I'm connecting to the same computer, which is in localhost, with root, no password. If you are connecting to some other outside server or even at your home, you could have password, so keep that in mind. Okay, connecting. Now I'm in. I'm gonna create, I already have the project here, the clean database for Okinawa, but I'm gonna create the second one. It doesn't matter which name I use, I just want to open the the data so you can see how fast this thing actually is. So test. Okay, so the process is quite simple. You just go to import. After you have created the database, you just go to import, find the SQL script. This is the thing we downloaded last time, if you remember. So I have here a reference and I have here Okinawa. So I'm gonna launch Okinawa and I'm gonna execute it. Yes, and as you can see, it's at least 10 times faster than Haiti program. So, if you can get your hands on this SQL jog and you like it, you can buy it. You can use the trial version. You can use it just for creating. This is the way I'm using it, just for creating the database and put all the tables inside. And after that, I'm using Heidi itself. So this concludes the story about SQL jog. It was just for like a add-on for the first session I had in this video guide. So now we can delete this database. Where is the drop? Okay, yes, we don't need it. Okay, now let's go to script and compatibility. So for SEOW Mission Planner, we need Internet Explorer. Some people were downgrading their Internet Explorers to 8 or even lower or 9 version, for example. But this is not necessary at all because it's working on the latest one here. What you need to do first, I will show you what could happen if it's not if you didn't add it into compatibility settings. So I'm going to open my local server here. Okay, you can see it's nothing here. We have Okinawa database, but we don't have any data except the tables and the usual stuff which are going with the database itself. So let's log in with the default thing, admin password. Oh, not there, here. Okay, let's go here. And you will notice when I press the right click, I have the usual Windows stuff here. This is not what I want to have here. Also, if we already have some initialized campaign, we don't. I could not click create and select the stuff because the scripts are not working. So I need to add my site, this local hosting or IP or DNS name, whatever you have, into this compatibility view settings. When I add it here, the page will immediately refresh itself, and now I have the right click working, and all the things I can click over here will work. So this is it. Nothing more about this compatibility issue. It's working like that. You don't need to go to firewalls and you don't need to do anything else. This thing is enough. Okay, I'm gonna lower it down. Okay, what we have here, radar log files. So you probably know that when you play HSFX version of the game, it's gonna create and if the mission start with SE, it's gonna create a radar log files. What is that for? So, for example, we could have on our mission radar logs. Um, Radar logs works in different ways. Depends on your settings. So you could have just boxes, so no identification, friend or foe. You can have them as a red and blue. If you are admin, you see both sides. If you log in as admin in this page and you open Radar Control Center, you will see both sides. Currently we don't have anything because we didn't initialize the mission itself. I just want to point out that in case your radar log files, which are basically when you play the game, it will go here. Where are you? It should be here, but I don't have it. I didn't host anything on this computer, so you will have folder here which will be called which is called radar, and inside you will have log files. The log file is created every minute, so you will actually have three dots, uh, like in the direction where the plane is flying, where the planes are flying. You will have the three boxes, and also you will have, well, maybe it's too bad to talk about this if you cannot see it. Let's change these log files after we build. Let's change the order of this. So I will explain the radar log files later when we will actually have something to see, when we will have ships, when we will have the ground-based radars. So we will actually be able to see how this thing works. So let's skip it for a while and let's go to build the mission itself. Before building the mission, depends on what you want. You could go and create just unhistorical thing. Let's say, well, maybe it's uh, it's not even possible to make some historical thing on the IL-2 game, because it's not likely that you will be able to simulate, for example, 1,300 ships like in Okinawa area here, and plus planes, plus infantries on both sides. So you need to scale it down a lot to be able to work with it on the mission itself. So otherwise, your computer will stuck with all these units moving, or just sitting there. It's enough. So what I'm usually do before I start to make some campaign, I open the history pages, books, whatever I can find, and make some gathering of information: who, where, what, why. If I want to go as historically as possible, but like I said, it's nowhere near the actual thing, because the game cannot simulate all the things moving, all the bombardment, everything. It would just freeze up. But to some degree, and I like to go to the edge, what's possible with the game itself. So I gather the data. Let me open it. I think I have it somewhere here. So I made here some object of battle to be able to see and to add things in the actual mission. Of course, I need to scale it down a lot, but I just want to have these original names, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth. For the first thing, I'm not going to create. I gather this data to make actual campaign, which I hope we will play in September or January. We'll see which one will come first. But for the initial thing, I'm gonna show just a few things, few ships, few air, few infantries and stuff, and I will work on the campaign outside of video guide itself. I'm not gonna make the whole campaign with all of these things inside uh, and recording this thing, because it will last for a long time. But I will show as much as I can, and later it's just adding forces, more forces, and even more forces. Okay, let's open the game. This notebook is kind of slow, which is not that bad. It allows me to drink some beer. Okie dokie. We need to go to map, Pacific. Let's see what's the difference between those two. Online, it's probably a smaller one. Okay. Okay, so for the campaign, I'm gonna use the bigger one. Yes, good. Some islands on the north part are missing. Maybe I will add them later. We'll see. So far we have enough work anyway. Okay, so after we gathered some information about our forces involved in this conflict, um, as a designer, you need to decide what you're gonna use and how you're gonna use that. Are you going to make the landing itself? Are you going to start from the landing? Depends, like I said before, depends how deep it's historically you want to go, of course, within the game limitations. So I decided here that I want to have a landing. I want to have different things like, for example, uh, you can see here we don't have Sakashima Islands, which are a little bit south west from Okinawa, and also we don't have Kyushu, which is a little bit northeast, quite a little bit. And of course, even though these things are in the map, we don't like to waste 1 hour just to fly the planes to the actual place. So I might do the multi multi-sector campaign, which means I could use Sakashima for one purpose, I could use Kyushu for the second purpose, and the main thing to be going on Okinawa itself. So over here, I'm not gonna touch the first and second thing, Sakashima Island or Kyushu. I'm gonna just do simple things here on Okinawa. Of course, the thing we cannot show here in this campaign are trains. No railway anyway, but we could do ships, and of course we can do ground things, and of course air things, which is the main thing. Uh, of course, over here, since I want to have landings, obviously I can add only ships for the US and the British task forces, and I need to load all of these infantries and tanks and everything onto these ships over here. I already shrinked a little bit this object of battle. Actually, I removed a lot of destroyers. I left only 10 of them per target group. task group, and also uh, I will just take some number of transport ships because I cannot add everything there was, unfortunately. And of course, we don't have 500 pilots to fly these missions to be able to survive over that kind of firepower concentrated over ships. But we're gonna talk about that later. So in this scenario, I'm gonna start with Japanese forces. So on the island there was 32nd Army, which had around 90,000 soldiers, plus they took local people to serve them and dig entrenchments and go to combat also with together with them. As you can notice here, the ratio is almost 2 to 1 per invaders. Ratio in ships is uh, actually huge thing. Somehow, at some point of time in this campaign, there was a tango operation where Japanese tried to sneak in with Yamato and one cruiser and 8 destroyers. And actually, their plan was to hit the Americans who already landed on the beaches. And basically, that was a one-way trip, they said, even though uh, uh, at some point they were saying to their soldiers they have fuel just for one-way trip, but actually they had for return. So I'm not sure what was going on with them, but obviously it ended bad for Japanese. We will not simulate the things as it was in reality, so I'm not going to show here to Americans where this fleet is. So Japanese commander in this campaign will could have some upper hand, let's say, because he will know a lot better than the allied commander where this fleet is, because obvious strength against these ships is way more to American side, and I expect commanders to be able to find them in that pretty small map and successfully destroy that fleet before it hits them hard to carrier fleet or other transport fleet or the shores itself. Okay, so let's continue with Japanese forces. So we have 24th Division. Um, I don't have data how many mortars they had, how many infantries, but I found out that they had unusually a big number of automatic weapon in these defending armies. And according to history books, they didn't make any effort in preventing Americans from landing. So for commanders over here, I'm gonna leave the options where to land. I will mark some area on this map where not to land and leave them all other places, or they can go like it was in reality, to go on the west side and sweep through this Jonathan and Kadena Air Base and cut the Okinawa in half. This will depend on commanders and how useful their bombardment will be in sort of a pre-phase of this campaign. So let's open this. I'm gonna make just some of the forces. Actually, if we open the book itself, not the book but the picture, let me open it. Let's see how defenses were done here. Okay. Okay, we can see here they were concentrated on the south side, protecting Shuri and everything to south. And they had some concentrations on the north side and Ishima Island on the northwest. So let's start to build the main thing like it was in reality, and the commander will decide will they expand it to Cadena Yontan air bases, or they're gonna hold the original uh, area in the campaign like it was in reality. Since um, we cannot simulate, let's say, this digging into these mountain areas, cliffs, and stuff. You see, it's sort of flat terrain, nothing special. Our tanks can go everywhere. We cannot make some horrific entrenchments, let's say. So it it looks like over here in the on this map it's not a big deal, but actually it was in reality. So we do what we can do. We'll do what we can, of course. We need to decide what kind of units and how to simulate more infantry, more machine guns like they had. First of all, when you build the mission, you always use the strength 1. Whatever you use, just use strength 1. This is because we will later in database before we initialize the campaign, we're gonna add multipliers which will multiply this one to whatever we need. So if we want, not actually whatever, to the number which is available in the game itself. As you can see, it's platoon strength 4 here. The same thing goes for tanks, for trucks, for guns, everything. So let's use Japanese infantries and let's start making the line itself. Well, this thing is kind of easy. Oh, no. I need to use stationary, I think, not the moving infantry. Okay, so let's do this. Let's take this one, Japanese entrenched, and let's start adding them. How many you can add? Well, a lot. Basically, later in the game, on every of these points we will have 3 or 4 platoons, depends on how many, what we will add in the object specification table, which multiplier we will add there. Okay. Okay. So according to books, they had one more airbase over here, so I'm gonna add that airbase later. And they also had one more somewhere here. I don't remember correctly. Okay, so let's say this is enough. No, let's add more. As you can see, I don't care much where I put them. So when the later it will create another 3 units, some can end up in the river. That's why when you play some campaigns, if not everything is done manually, if they also use these multiplayers, uh, some of the units could be created in the water. So keep that in mind when you see that thing next time. Okay, so let's protect the Naha city to some degree also. Okay, I need to examine the area on the map where I'm gonna forbid landing. Not all areas are suitable for landing itself. Let's continue more with infantry. You need to be very careful when you are close to air bases, because if I put one unit closer here, it could easily, when it creates another 3 or 2, one of them could easily end up on the runway. And if in case this is the starting point for your planes, you will immediately have explosion or broken wheel or something. So you need to be very careful with these things, not to be on very close to the runway. This is enough, not closer than this. Okay. Okay, let's. I will later continue with the other stuff to populate everything for my real campaign. For this, it will be just enough to use this number, whatever it is. So, and now let's do. In this battle, the Japanese had only 27 tanks, 2 versions, medium tank and light tank. So let's add them too. We go to stationary armor, and then we add Japanese medium tank. Was it this one? Not sure. Just a second. Um, type 97. Okay. It looks like this is the one. Type 97. Maybe this one. No. Oh, this one looks nasty. Okay, let's use this one. Okay, so let's. Obviously, tanks cannot go through mountain area, and let's leave them in the area, in the flat area. They are easier targets there, but of course, in the game they can go everywhere. Okay, if we will make some kind of counter attack, let's put more. How many I added? 4, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I will count them later. They said 14 of these, if I remember. and 13, yes, and 13 light. Okay, which one is light? Japanese light. I guess this is the one. So 13. If we add them in strength 2, let's put 2 of them here. This will be, if I make them strength 2, this will be 4 tanks here, then 4 tanks here. This is 8, and over here, I don't know, maybe here, this will be 12, and let's leave it like that. I'm gonna save this, save as. Hmm. Okay, save. Then we need to protect these things with some artillery. They had huge number of things there, according to books. So let's use this. This thing can be used for air and for ground, no problem. Okay, now let's add, select, let's add them artilleries. We can use 3 times 25, or let's use this one. First of all, let's protect the air bases. Okay, we need some big flak too. So I need to decide, will I use this as an anti-tank weapon primarily and shorten its shooting range, or I'm gonna use it for AAA purposes. Let's do it differently. Let's take Russian 85 millimeter gun. This one has a big flak thing. Okay, okay, okay. Oh, I need to change sides on this. Otherwise, Houston will have a problem. Okay, so this is it. Let's go and protect some other, some units with some kind of umbrella. Okay, let's say this is going to be enough. Okay, this is it. So let's say these are forces we have available here. Of course, I'm gonna add a little bit more over here and then on Yashima too, but not in this particular moment. I will add them later. Uh, at this point, I'm gonna add the planes. Aircraft. Let's go to Japanese. So, majority of the planes will be Army ones, Army version, but we will also add some A6 M5s to. I want to have KI-43 here. Where are you? K, 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 K. Okay, KI-43. This one. Okay, so I need to land these every planes I want to use, I need to land it to base. This means the second waypoint needs to be a landing point. Then I choose how many airplanes, and of course I choose the army, otherwise they will use whatever it's selected here. In this case I want to have Imperial Army, and let's see which squadrons were involved in this conflict. Okay, so I don't have data for Okinawa itself. We'll check that later, but I have some here from Formosa, Miyakojima, Ishikage-jima, and Kyushu, of course. So I'm just gonna take, let's say, 65th Squadron, 65th Sentai. I guess this is the one. When it comes to aircrafts, you have two rules here. One is that you need a landing point for each flight, and the second one is you can never use Squadron 4. You can use the first three and of course the all four flights over here. This means you can have like 12 flights times 4 aircrafts at maximum per one regiment name. And this is it. SEOW use Squadron 4 for some internal things. I'm not sure what exactly, so I'm not gonna invent the hot water here. Just remember 1, 2, 3 are okay, 4 is not okay. So let's add a little bit more planes over here. Okay, for this example, this will be enough for this base. Okay, let's continue with the navy. Okay, I'm gonna put ships. I will put all the ships which were involved in Tango operation. That means I have two choices here, to take moving ships or to take stationary ships. I will take stationary ships because we will remove um, units in progress anyway. This means all the moves I made here will be set to 0. What I want to point out and show here is that you need to make the formation. The ships, if they collide, both units are gone, regardless if it's a small patrol boat and the second one is a carrier or something. Two ships collide, both are gone. So let's use what Japs had here. In the real campaign, I will most likely set them more to north and or east-west, definitely on the north side. So I will allow commanders to make some use of it. And of course, the other side commander will need to find them before they hit allied forces. So let's start with the biggest one, which was Yamato. Battleship. So I'm gonna make formation, and that's it. When you add any of the ships onto map, you want to have proper spacing between the ships, because sometimes carriers are basically turning not naturally in a curve, but they are just turning in the opposite direction with some side going sideways or some awkward. It looks funny, but you don't want your ships to crash into each other, so give them spacing. Okay, let's see first what kind of other ships they had here. Cruiser Yahagi. I don't think we have that one over here, so let's use Kuma. Okay, ships are pointing in this direction, which means I will set Kuma a little bit in the back. And let's add destroyers around. We need to add another 8 destroyers, if I remember. Hamakaze, not existing, I would say. Nope, but we have Yukikaze. We will use the same type, and I will just give them different names in the game. Okay, altogether it needs to be 10 ships. 3. Okay, let's shrink a little bit. Okay, it's going to be okay. Right, so I will save this. We have enough forces. Okay. Oh, I need to add some columns. Okay, let's use vehicles. Japanese HQ column. Let's put one over here. Be extremely careful with this, because if you add too much forces, too many forces on the map, one by one, one after each other, make sure that every now and then you press save, because it often happens to me that I forget to add second, or I click accidentally on the map and I have only one waypoint that the game won't be able to save. So make quick savings from time to time, so you won't lose all the job immediately. Okay, now let's add supply columns and engineer. I'm just clicking here, I don't care much where exactly to point them. I just want to have them. Okay, let's add few engineers. In session 3 I will explain how to make your own column. File, save. Okay, so far so good. We have supply, we have HQ, we have engineers. That's it. We already added here some infantry, some AAA, some anti-tank units, howitzers. We will add some other force later, after I explain this in detail. So let's click save. And now what I will show you, how to make, for example, let me open the clean map. Here we go. Okay, as a designer, you can make the campaigns different ways. First way, the most obvious, is that you make everything planes, rounds, deployments, everything for both sides, and you set the rules of engagement. They can be imaginary, they can be historical rules. I mean rules, the historical goals, and you play by these rules and goals to uh, until one side achieve them or you quit playing. Uh, this is one way. Obviously, for commanders, is at the beginning no work at all, uh, except the thing they need to wait some time to set up the strategy on their own for their own forces. This is one way. The second way is that you, for example, have two commanders. Um, One for each side, or many of them for one side or both sides, and you, as a designer, give them opportunity to put their own forces the way they want to achieve their given goals. So in this case, I will set up. I mean, how you, as a admin or designer, how do you achieve these things? So you take, for example, you need to make a template for them. Otherwise, you will see unit mixing one behind the others, and it will be a no-go. So rather make them some kind of a border so they know, okay, we can go through this line, not above it, and the other side can go obviously on the other side of that line. What's the point of it? The point of making two missions is that none of the sides will see the other side's mission. They will see it in the mission planner later, but up to the level what recons, dynamic recon of the mission planner will give them. So they might know something about units which are far back in the backside, or they can know something on the front side, or they can know both, or maybe they won't know anything on the imminent danger, which is very close and near, until they get proper recon. All depends how much recon designer set at the beginning of the campaign. In this example, I will show how to make this template, which you will give to commanders. Let's assume that south side is populated by Japs. So I will take the blue markers and will just click to get something, and then I will take the red side and I will click to get something from it. Okay, so for example, let's put some units, stationary units. Let's say Japs are over here, and red Nexus commanders or commander set their units as they wish. They save it. The red side for them is completely empty. They just know where the border is, nothing else. And they save it and they send this to administrator or designer, it doesn't matter. Next, the red side, do the same thing for them, and designer will, or administrator will merge these two missions in one single mission. After this thing is done, the missions are merged, then he will initialize the campaign, and you will be able to see what you did and what are your positions, which you already know from the full mission builder, but all of your colleagues will know what you did, and you will be able to plan them from that point in the mission planner. Uh, about the recon itself, well, like I said, it depends on the designer to set how it can be even 100%, so you know everything. For the other side, in that case, I don't see any point why would you actually do two missions if all can be visible in the beginning. Uh, Usually what I'm doing some mixture of these two things. Sometimes let's say I've set 80 or 90% of the stationary stuff all over the map where I need it for both sides. This allows me to go in more details. These divisions were in history in that area, so I put them on in that area with the feature adding forces. And when I'm done with most of the things, I give the commander, let's say 20-30% of the forces to put them wherever they want, wherever they like, according to their strategy for the advancing forces. So this is this. So like I said, you can make this in different ways. You have multiple choices. Obviously, when you do everything, it's the easiest one for everyone else except the designer. And there are different things where you can involve them in. Depends on how how much involvement you can expect from them. Actually, in these days, people are usually give me planes and let me fly. Think they are not much in the strategy and so on. That is actually my experience in the last years, recent years. Before it was much better. People were a little, much more into strategy and let me build my own force and put them in the right directions and But this is the explanation how you can achieve whatever you want with this kind of approach. So for our project, I need to make the red side, which means US and British side, um, to be able to show you how to merge two different missions on the same map into one single mission, and after that we can initialize this campaign. Okay, I can close it now and we can continue with adding red side forces. Let me do the British fleet, which should be a little bit more easier because we just have ships, and then I will show you how to merge, and other American units I will add a little bit later. So let's go to British fleet. British fleet had a task to suppress Formosa, not Formosa in the beginning, but Sakashima Islands, which are a little bit southwest of Okinawa. So I will set them in the south side over here. Let's first go and check what kind of ships they had. Fifth Fleet, British Fleet. British Task Force. Okay, this is it. Formidable. Lost Rose. Okay, let's do it. Stationary ships. Domain. Then Lustrous. What were the other? I don't think we have that one. This one. Victorious. Okay, let's add another. CBE. Okay, now let's add two of them. Let's go to it. Need another one. Okay, we need another small one. Now let's add battleships. King George. Okay, 5 cruisers were in. Destroyers. 6 destroyers. Okay, let's take this one. I'm not sure which type they were. But any type can be easily replaced in the database itself. Save as. Okay, let's land the planes on the carriers. For landing the planes on the carriers is basically the same rule. You need to set the landing point. So they had Corsairs and Avengers. Should be easy. Sometimes I add them over here, sometimes I add them in database. In this case I will show you how to add them here. So this is the first one. Select aircrafts, Corsairs. Not sure why, but picture is tearing apart. FF. Okay, there you are. Waypoint landing. And now we need to select what was it, which squadron, which nation. Okay, let's see. Squadrons. Formidable had 848. It's a bomber squadron and 1841. 1841. Okay, 1, 4, landing. Okay, next one, landing. 4. Okay, they say 36. 36 Corsairs, 18 Avengers. 848. Okay, let's select Avenger. Eighteen of them. Landing this 848. I didn't set landing point. Okay, that's it. I almost forgot. In carriers operation like we have here, we have to set landing points to be set for the target, and the target is the actual carrier itself, so we have to set it to all for all the landing points to point to carriers for all the flights, otherwise they will be placed in the water. Set that one, set here. Okay, almost there. Set landing. Next set landing. Okay, and the last one. Okay, select and let's go and save it. What's next? We have two separate missions, one for red side, one for blue side, and commanders on both sides need to send these files to admin so he can merge them and initialize the campaign itself. So let's do that. We need to go back to mission planner. We have a, let me go back all the way up. So we have a tab here called tools. Over here we have map information tool. We basically provide information for the maps which are currently included in the mission planner. Over here you have which version it is it suitable for air or for ground only, and stuff like this, and is it scaled or not, to a ratio on the map, or it's shrinked or something. So we don't need this. Or here we have a theme selection. Let me show you this. For example, I've never used it, but let me show you. Okay, so it will randomly put these names on this box into two boxes. So if you cannot make up your mind who will play for what side, you can use this. Next, we have a Technics processor tool. Well, we need a Firefox for that. Let me copy the link, paste. Okay, Technics processing, browse. Okay, Technics file. As you can see over here, we can edit units which are involved in the Sturmovik, at least for the ground stuff and a little bit for the ships, and you can change their attack ranges, change their speeds, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe not, speed is on the other side. So I'm not using this. I never use this thing. I always open them in the Notepad or Notepad++, and I have all the stuff in there, but you might see this as a better option just to change and have everything in one site, so to speak. So let's go back to our work. Template merger. This is the thing we need, but not in Firefox. We need to use template merger in Internet Explorer. So we are in, compatibility is on. The initial password for this is frog. When you type frog in, admin will have option to select these missions we are just well, what he received from his commanders. So let's take the Japanese side first. It doesn't matter which one is first or second. Missions. So Japanese side, open. Next one is of course the British side, open. Now we have to set here the date when the first mission will be played, and we will see that time in the mission planner. Okay, so this battle was at 45. I'm gonna start from 23rd of March, and let's say the first hour of the mission will be 600 hours. Okay, about this, in the mission we will merge. It will create this hour minus the length of the mission we have specified in this DCS program. So in case if your mission length over here is 1 hour and you have selected over here 600 hours, in the merge mission you will see 500 hours, 5 a.m. in the morning in this case. If we move this mission length hours to, for example, 2 or more, it will go from this time minus this time. So don't freak out if in the mission you just merged, it's a pitch black dark because of the starting time. Or here it's going to be a dawn, but over there in the mission merged it could be dark, depends on the mission length you have selected in this CS program. So keep that in mind. Let's go to visibility. Let's set clear, initial cloud height, okay, wind, okay. No idea from where wind blows on that area, so let's leave it. We don't need gust and turbulence in carrier operations, so we will clean this. Now we came to the point we just need to click merge template, but there's a problem here. In none of my mission planners it never worked. I didn't investigate why, because I didn't need this merger in that sense, because I'm doing mostly all of the job, or let's say 80% of the work. So it's not something that I need in the past. So I will show you what's the problem here. When I click merge template, it will tell me what how many of some stuff are merged in that mission, and I should use this template URL, and this is what I get. I don't know why is that, but this is not something that game understand. I figure out that for some reason for me it doesn't work, but I know where it works, and I never cared to ask why. So let's go to SEOW HQ, and we're gonna use their official mission planner. Sectors, tool, template, the same thing, frog. We will choose our missions, browse, first day 45, March 23rd, and I said 5 o'clock. Weather good, let's be clear, known, none, create merge template. Okay, now we have it as it should look like. So what do we need with this? Let's select it all, copy. We need to open Notepad and just paste it, and we will save it as a merged mission, merged value. Okay, mission. You need to change this to all files. .miss. Save. Okay, let's close it. Let's put it down, and let's see how this looks like. Okay, over here it says 35 kilobytes. So let's see what we didn't have, what we don't have in it. As you probably already noticed, we don't have MDS files, which are normal thing to have inside every edited mission file in full mission builder. So for campaign we don't need respawn, we don't need this, and when we clean this stuff we will have exactly the, or actually I can load this, and I should have 37 kilobytes in the mission file. So let me open the full mission builder, Let's see how that looks like in there. File load merge mission. So we should have all Japanese forces like we have it in Japanese satellite units mission, and we should have British fleet, which is exactly where we put it. Okay, now let me save it, and I should have a mission of 37 kilobytes, or give it one or two. Okay, this is it. This is what we need to initialize our campaign, but we are not going to do that yet. Why? Because first we need to set up CDCS program to have all the necessary settings in there before we go to initialize the campaign. Also, let's see our to-do list. Merging missions, setting CDCS. Okay, this is the first thing. After that, we will have to edit object specification table, which means we will dig into database itself. Okay, let's do this first. Okay, just for explaining CDCS features itself, it will take at least 1 hour, so I'm not gonna do that at this moment. I will just go through necessary stuff, what we need to initialize campaign. Host name, we will set warp. It can be anything over here. Theater Okinawa. I'm gonna use 1 hour mission length. Then everything you do, you need to press save. This is the button. Okay, over here we don't need anything. Everything can be changed later. We should do something about this because it cannot be changed later. Over here, enable fog of war, 1 hour delay. This means whatever we do, whatever the consequences on the map, on the units are, we will not know that for at least 1 hour. I'm not gonna use this campaign. Over here, load all ground sea units with maximum strength, and we're gonna have this thing on. I will explain later how does it correlate with the object specification table settings. Enable aircraft capture over on bases. This will be off. That means if one side capture enemy airbase, what shall they do with those planes? In this case, if it's off, all the planes on the base will be destroyed. We will leave it like that. Enable aircraft refit delays. That means a different type of loadouts could have different delays. For example, you can set in the loadout table, you can set different delays for bombs than for rockets or whatever you wish. That means when plane return to base, some of the planes with one refit, I mean one loadout, will have could have different waiting period than the others. I'm gonna leave it like that. Use aircraft paint schemes. Yes, we will have that because we will allow people to use their own skins. Enable edges affix objects. Yes. enable ground combat effectiveness model. Well, this feature has a lot of sub features. Many units have different settings if this thing is on. I mean, it gives me, as a designer, it gives me just problems, I would say. Well, even though it's a really nice feature where your units have stamina effect. If they move too far in one mission, they cannot just drive and shoot like nothing happens. It depends on the control, depends on fuel, depends on morale, depends on multiple things. So when these units are moving, they will shoot and obey techniques in a file. But when they are stationary, their ranges will go to the maximum specified, or they will shrink. It's a pain to have them designed to be to some sort of reasonable shooting range. If you ask me, moving units should shoot less than stationary units, but if this thing is on, it's not the case. It's a game limitation. Although this was one excellent idea with this, but so far I didn't see practical use of it. So I'm gonna turn this thing off. Dynamic reconnaissance, yes. Automatic industrial environment repairs. Okay, we don't have here any industrial things, but in case you do, um, in your campaigns, you can specify two settings: automatic industrial repair, and you can specify how the length of hours until the industrial is totally repaired. And the second option is it can be, just a second. Oh no, I messed this thing. No repairs. I messed this thing with repair bridges, where we also have feature of engineers. In this case, automatic bridge repair, you have specified hours, and that's okay. Then you have second option, which is the bridge will be repaired only if the engineers are nearby within control radius. Then we have, of course, no bridge repair. In this campaign, I'm going to use automatic bridge, and I'm going to use 1 hour, which means one mission without a bridge, and then it will be repaired and ready for second bombing or whatever. Use temporary air bases, no truncate sea missions. Yes, what that means? That means when we plan sea missions, we could plan more than we are allowed to plan for ground units. For example, if we set that the ground units could move 120 minutes, let's say, uh, that is the maximum you can plan them on the mission planner, and it will tell you that it's over that limit. But for the C unit, it's possible to plan them more longer periods, and in this case, when we have carrier operations, we could accidentally press, for example, 130 minutes, and we have just, let's say, 120, and would not be able to use that unit at all. It would be these extra 10 minutes which were over the planning period time would be played like you have planned them to move another 10 minutes in the second mission. This is not good for carriers because we need to know them to go into the wind, and we need to take care of these small things when it comes to carriers. So we want that every time which is above the official length of the mission to be truncated, so it's like deleted. This is one way to do that, or you can, not you, but admin can go to generate and click remove in progress and clean all the stuff planned uh, which goes above official mission time. We have here ground mission duration. We don't need that for this because they will obey the normal mission planning mission time. Disembarkation. Okay, over here we have different settings. This one says when it's off, no delays for unloaded units. That means when you have a supply column packed with your infantries or whatever is inside, I mean fighting units, when you unload them, you are in this case able to plan them to move wherever you want them to move. Uh, then we have a second settings which says unload units inactive. This means you can unload the units nearby the transport, but these units won't be able to move and won't shoot at all at anyone. Then we have a third option which says unloaded units immobile but will shoot at hostiles. So if they are under attack, they will shoot, but you will not be able to plan them for one mission. So in our case, I will leave it off so we can unload them and plan them immediately, no problem. Enable human recon, yes. Enable famous ace charisma skill upgrades, yes. That means that planes which return to bases could progress in their skill level, regardless are they human or AIs. Enable ground skill update, yes, we'll use it like that. Intelligence, in this case, this percentage will be applied to everything we have on the map. So we can specify different settings for the axis and for allied in campaign. How this thing works, it will just hash all the stuff in there per side, and it will randomly in this percentage set the different kind of recons to some units. So one side could know something about units on the front line, but also it could be that some units in far back behind could also be revealed by some percentage. It doesn't mean that they are on 25% in this case visible like 100%. No, it can be 14, so it will be just question mark. It can be 52, I don't know, 98, whatever. It's a random thing, and I don't know how random actually it goes, but it will show only this 25% of all the units visible on the map, including the planes on the air bases. In our case, we will set this to 25%. You can go from 0 to 100. In case of 100, all the units will be visible all over the place. Okay, that's it. This is what we need. Let's go to next. Recon, decay. This is, I think this thing can be changed later, but in case it's not, basically it explains different classes, how their recon will disappear, I mean decay over the missions. Let's go to supply. Yes, this is let's say calculator how things are fuel going to be on 1-to-1 ratio, or it's no, I'm sorry, this is the conversion factor. It will what will say 1.5 liter per freight point. Okay, when you specify some freight, it will multiply this number with that freight number you have specified in object specification table for some units which can carry some freight. I'm usually leaving this on one, so no calculation. Whatever you see there, it's there. Global fuel consumption rate means is are those units are going to obey the what what's specified in the object specification table, or you want to force them to use much more by setting consumption rate with different rates, so it will multiply this with consumption set in the object specification table. We want to start with excellent morale, of course. And then we over here we are specifying how much fuel we gonna have offline and initial fuel load per unit. When we initialize campaign, if we set, for example, this to 50% or any others, all the units on the map in the point of initialization, they will have 51% of whatever we have specified in this table to be their holding capacity. So you can do that for allies, you can do that for axis. Of course, you can do it for fuel reservoirs on the map, and that's it. Idle supply usage. Okay, over here you can fine tune some units idle usage. In the SEOW, all what if you check this supply thing at the first place, you will then the system will have supply tracking. So you can do different stuff, like for example in some campaigns in the real life fuel was a big problem. In this case supplies means not just fuel but food, munitions, you know, and of course logistic is a nightmare in most of the cases, and you can fine-tune this kind of stuff over here to design whatever you want, and you can really come to do to design things which are so demanding to logistic, so it's not just shooting and killing. You have to take care of stuff which are behind the scenes, so to speak. Flight modes, not important for us here. Territorial control can be changed later. Movement, of course, later. Over here we don't use any of the remote stuff. For you need to specify where your event log file is, so you just point to game, select it, open, and over here you should point where your game folder is, so you can so your build missions could be set over there, so you can find them to host them, of course. Append code mod slow directive to missions file. Okay, this means whatever we have specified in the coop mod slot area in the table, you will need to use it as a prefix for your call sign. Otherwise, you won't be able to see any plane. Coop mod slot. Let me see over here. So in this case, this is the default. In this case, only if I have in front of my name R, let's say R underscore, and then my name, I will be able to see planes from the red side. For the blue side, B underscore, and then whatever name you want to use. Over here, I also added warp. So in this case, I don't need to have R underscore. I would be able to see red side planes only. Okay, if I want to add some other squadron, I don't know. Let's say you need to make a space, and let's put space, and that's it. So DJ77 would be able to connect, and after that they can have whatever, it doesn't matter, but they need to have in the middle column in front of their call sign. Usually we are not setting this because we have players which are not belonging to any squads, so we are just using this R and B. So I have R underscore or B underscore in front of the call sign. Let me save it. So this is the check button. If I don't have that on the bottom of the mission, it won't have coop mod slot, and I will be able to see all the planes currently planned for that mission, if they are not hidden, of course. So let me show you this from some previous campaign. Let's say this one, Crimea. Over here on the bottom we have this. We have mod slot, we have R underscore, we have server, we have B underscore. So if we don't check that, we won't have this part at all, and we will be able to see all the planes, which is not something you want. Well, maybe if you are just playing for fun, that's okay. If you are playing to have some kind of I don't know how to say, you want to have some surprise attack and so on, so you don't want to enemy to see that you are planning that many bombers for humans and who will take them and stuff like this. So you want to hide that from them. In case you restart the server, of course these things will be immediately visible. So if you for any reason need to restart the server and you really like to have no one to see what other side is flying, you will need to ask the people to disconnect from the server before you kill the server, otherwise they will see it. Ability, okay, radar, we can do all of these things later. Okay, we are ready now. These are the basic settings we need. We just need to click save. Now we're gonna edit object specification table. Let's open ID or SQL jog. Over here in this table, what I'm doing is actually I'm enabling just the units we're gonna use in our campaign. And after that, I'm setting what is the group strength for those units. So first of all, let's set them all to X. Refresh. Okay, all units are now set to X. Let's open, I'll shrink this a bit so I can open a mission file and enable the units we are using over here. Okay, let's do it. Over here we will use, I don't have them yet because they are not added, but we gonna use this too. In this nationality area, you can only specify 4 different things. R, which means all allied forces, regardless are they Russians or not, and G, which goes for all Axis units. Then we could specify N, which means that object can be used by both sides, and X, this units will not be shown at cost table at all. If you don't do this thing, what I'm doing now, I will show you what will happen. Okay, over here we have cost table. In cost table we have different groups, and now when I have specified the X for everything, all the things are missing for allied and for Axis side. So I'm just gonna enable the things we are going to use, so only those are shown over here, and we could easily go through a table with specified points for those, and later when players and commanders look at the cost table, they will be able to see how fast some unit is, how much transportation capacity it has, what is the shooting range, and stuff like this. Of course, also the cost of production for that particular units. Over here we have just enabled 2 guns on the light side. That's why we could see over here just those 2. If you are using the table like it is by the default, you will have all the units from the war in this area, and of course it's hard to figure out which one you are using in campaign and which one you are not using in campaign, to have it in sight on those data. Okay, I'm gonna drop it down and let's continue our work. I think I 6 and 2. Okay, I will enable them all 3. Over here I'm checking immediately, could this plane be flyable or not by humans. Sometimes you will need to change from AI to human in this table, because some planes are flyable in aisle 2, but over here they are marked incorrectly. So I'm putting them to access side. Let's go B29. Nakajima, yes. It will take some time to finish this. I'll be back later. Okay, now when most of the things has been edited and set to side, let's sort them out. Okay, G axis neutral. If I forgot some of the units, I can easily add them later. Let's deal with those at this moment. So now I'm gonna set strength, group strength, and that will be it. One more thing, I think I forgot infantry. We have US and we have Japanese. R G. Okay, that's it. For planes, for those planes, we're gonna use strength 4. So far all are humans, so no need to change anything. Then we have bunkers. Of course, bunkers should be at strength 1. So when we put 1 on the map, we're gonna have 1 on the map. Then we have these 5. Vehicle, coastal bunker. Okay, it's coastal bunker, also 1. Then we have ships. Okay, now over here we have a tank. Cargo type 95. We can leave them in strength 4. For artillery, we're gonna use strength 2. This is 150 artillery. Then we have ships, of course it's 1. Then we have, what is that, Raiden? Yes, we will leave it at 4. Then those are columns, they are always strength 1. Then we have KI 100, it's a plane, all the way up to here. Then we have stationary, it's what is it? Yeah, it's a column. Okay, then we have a ship, MX. This is a kamikaze. I'm gonna set them strength 2. Actually, I would gonna set them strength 4, and also they are flyable, so I'm gonna copy humans over AIs. and 1K. This one is also flyable if I'm not mistaken. So I'm gonna set it also here. Then we have, what is this, flag. We won't use more than 2 per platoon, so all the flag will be at strength 2. Okay, the destroyer. Okay, we have infantries now. Japanese infantry entrenched. So we will have 4. Then we have here Japanese bazooka. Their strength is going to be 2. And the normal infantry has 1 of the bazookas in there. And when they lose strength, 3, 2, and then they lose bazooka also. But when they are at full strength, they have bazooka inside. Okay, then we have mortar. We're gonna set them on 2 also. This is a tank, so let it be at 4. Yamato ship 111. What is this? Zenith. It's a big flag, also 2. Siren 0. 1. Then we have infantry. US infantry 50 cal. Okay, we're gonna set those machine guns strength 2, planes 4, Bofors strength 2, planes all flyable, ship Fiji strength 1, over here M16 AAA strength 2. Then we have 105 strength 4. Then we have M3 vehicle. We'll set those at 2. Tanks will stay on 4. Then we have M75. It's artillery piece, strength 2. Tank 4. Vehicle Greyhound, strength 2. Then we have planes. What is this? Buffers, static buffers. Okay, this is going to be a 2. Rocket unit 2. Tanker TBF. Okay, ship columns, infantry, bazooka strength 2. Then we have ships. Then wheelers jeep. Okay, strength 1. Ships strength 1. US infantry entrenched. Okay, strength 4. Mortar strength 2. Then more ships. Then we have armor, but I think we already came to end. Okay, this is it. This is the last thing we should do before we initialize campaign. Actually, not the last. We need to back up this stage because we could have some error in the initialization process and we could lose this work. So I'm gonna save it like this, drop. export. Okay, dokie, let's do it now. So we are going to open Okinawa. We are going to initialize campaign. You need to enable a couple of more. Okay, first of all, let me check the table for the army units. Army units. Okay. 45th Japanese. First, second Marine. Sixth Marine. Okay. Whoever captured that data for this campaign did pretty good job. All the historical divisions are over here. We won't need more than those which are already here. Okay, so initialize. Need to enable cop log before. Okay. Somehow it didn't save those fields. Now I'm gonna point out where the mission actually is. Merged mission. Loading. Unknown stationary type vehicle artillery horror. Okay. We have a problem with this artillery. It seems we will have to change it with some other object. So let's do it. Horror artillery. Okay. Let me replace that with 150 cannon. It seems that it is in the game, but we are missing one part over here. Let me try to do that. First of all, we have a problem with initialization, so I'm not risking anything, and I will load our saved database. Drop existing, use this one, play, and then I'm gonna change this artillery object to something different. Maybe that's what causes problem. Check auto. heading for here, save, let's try. Okay, we have a go. Let's open over here. As you can see, when I refresh, all the enabled stuff will pop up. You can toggle images for the objects. Okay, let's go and see how that looks like in sector map. Again, unknown, rocket type, horror. Okay, seems horror gives us a great deal of problems. And as you can see over here, it's blockading all the other stuff in mission planner. Not all, but some things are missing, so I'm gonna replace that object with howitzers. Let me search copy and go into object mission data where they are stationary. And now I'm replacing horror with this gun. Okay, query. Right. Okay, guns are here. We can try to refresh. Okay, problems are now solved. We can now work on this campaign and make plans and whatever else we want to do. In this case, after initialization has been done, we will remove missions in progress. That means all the units which are currently moving on the island, because vehicle columns we cannot make stationaries. Now we will need to remove this moves. So let's go to remove progress. We're gonna type penguin. to ask us to confirm. Okay, okay, now when we refresh we won't see 21 mission in progress, so all are now taskable. Over here we have another problem because for some reason HQ ranges are only set on the air bases. So I have to find some of the column and change it to have HQ abilities, otherwise no units which are outside of the red circles of control base radius are not going to be taskable. Also we have a route exceed maximum travel time, blah blah blah, so it doesn't matter, but as you can see we could plan those, but no way we could plan any others which are out of range. So let's see which one of the units has been selected as an HQ. We have all of these. Staff column should be HQ. And this means this is the Japanese cars column A. Command control. We will set if command control is 3 kilometers. We can check this here. Where is it? Territorial, yes. Command control is 3 kilometers, so we'll set multiplier for this thing to I don't know, 5 maybe, 5, and we'll set them to influence moral with 2. Now when we refresh we should see our HQ ranges. HQ ranges, oh no. It seems that we don't have any of those columns currently involved in the mission itself. Let me check that. B, C, C, E, but no A. Okay, it's a good time to add command stuff and move to second phase, not second phase, I mean to move to point 9 where we add additional forces. How we do that? Okay, we're gonna simply open the mission builder. We are opening the same sector. Everything needs to be identical. And now we will add few of these HQs. Open objects, vehicles, Japanese cars column A. That should be one. If all is good, let's see. select, second one here, select, then we need one over here, select, we need more here, file, save as, save, then here, I'll say let's check if this is actual column. No, it isn't. It says Japanese car column B. Okay, so we are going to replace this one with cars E. Place this with this, like so. So now this is it. File, save. Now here we could see what actually this thing looks like now. Okay, so this is our HQ column. Very nice. Now we are going to add these additional forces into current map. For this, let me close this one, exit, no, okay, okay. For this we will use tool add new forces from template. Click on it, the password is default penguin. Now we need to point out where is our mission with additional forces. This is the one. And as you can see over here, we have 11 chiefs for axis, and that's it. Over here we have allied units, and over here we have an axis unit. We will set them to be 32nd Army. Each of these names use 64 different names, so we have just 11. That means we could have added a lot more stuff using this only single name. For the purpose to show how that works, this is enough. We're just gonna click OK, and the new forces has been added to the map. We can now refresh and you will see them. Since that unit has HQ radius now we will see it as a age on the map. As you can see, we have boosted morale to for this unit to +2, and it's also here. And when we click right click and click toggle HQs, now you will see that all the area has been covered with the HQ columns, and all units are now taskable to move around. Okay, over here we have a light fleet, British fleet. On the north side we should have Japanese fleet, and for this particular moment that's enough. The same principle I'm gonna use for US US troops, but all of the stuff I need to pack on the sea, for example, let it be here. I need to add ships, I need to add units around it, and then I need to um, add them to the map, and over there inside the mission planner I need to load one stuff into another because all the units are packed on ships. So I'm not gonna do that for all the units, but I'm gonna show a few ships how to load them with units. Okay, now I need full mission builder again. Okay, let's say they are here. I'm gonna add static ship, stationary ship. Let it be, let's say, enterprise right here. And then I'm adding landing ship dock. Their direction doesn't matter at this particular moment. And then I'm adding another dock ship, and then I'm adding tank ship, and also I will add landing rocket. Okay. Now I will add landing crafts. Okay, I'm gonna add few of those. Then I need bigger transports. But I forgot what is their name. Well, can't remember. I'll find them later. For now, let's take few of these LVTs and then we are going to put some tanks, stationary armors, US Sherman's medium tank. This is the one. Now stationary infantry. US entrenched. You will need a lot of those. Okay, for now it's enough. Then we need vehicles. We need HQ column, we need engineers, we need basically everything. So first HQ columns. This will be a difficult task over here. I cannot set them to be on the sea. As you can see, I cannot click, so I will need to load them somehow differently. Let's say I will add this unit on the ground over here, and then I will move one ship closer, and then I will move that shipping database to coordinates where it's supposed to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and then we need engineers, supply truck. Okay, supply truck. And engineers, where are you? Okay, now I'm gonna close up one of the stationary ships. Actually, I'm gonna add one here. Let it be a landing ship tank. Let's set 3 of them for those here. Okay. I will also drop some planes, land some planes on the carrier so we can play later. Aircraft, what do they have? Enterprise. EF-20. So let's put here some Corsairs. Save as. Okay, this is not everything US side will have, so this is just for example. Save, exit, quit, yes. So let's add all of those to first Marine Division. So open, total tools, add new forces, penguin, pointing where the mission is, select forces, 1. Over here we have 3 flights, 13 chiefs, 78 stationaries. So I'm gonna set those to first Marine. It will be for the infantries. Then I need something for armor because I have tanks. Then I need engineers. This will be that one. Then I don't have any artilleries here. I just have tanks and infantry, so it should be enough. Cheers, that's it. Okay, okay. Adding new forces added. Okay, forces are added. Good. Now let's refresh this map. So over here, since this map doesn't have any HD sectors, it will be a little bit tricky to add them to the vehicles, but we will manage. Supply, let's see, HQ ranges, okay. Their HQ transport has only 3-kilometer range. We need to expand that. US cars column HQ. We are expanding the HQ to 5. After refresh, it should extend the HQ range. Okay, that's good. Now we need to load this unit and move the transport back to the fleet. We just use this part of land to make it happen. LST, so over here we have 500,000 kilos. We could easily load them, so let's do that. Logistic, freight. We should select one of the LSTs, in this case LST1, LST616, what is this one, 510, 61 and 62. So let's take this 510. It will immediately allow us to load something which is 10 kilometers away. Basically it can cover everything. We just need to take care not to overload the ships itself, which cannot happen. So HQ 1, 2, and then we are taking one supply, and this is it. Loading that. Okay, it's loaded. We could put all of these in one ship, but we want to have all the eggs in one basket. So let's take 62 or 6-1. So 1, 1, 2, 1, load. Okay, and remaining one should pick up the others. Okay, over here where we don't have the okay, we are missing one. Why? Seems it's out of range somehow. Okay, all are now set. How to move? As you can see, when you do mouse over, it is showing what's in there. Now we're gonna use coordinate systems to move these ships back to the fleet over here. So let's write down the coordinates. Actually, let's take a look. What are they? 189, 125. Okay, let's change the coordinate for them. 189, 125. Okay, as you can see, ship has been changed its location and it's now over here. Let's take another coordinate. 190, 141. 190, 141. Ah, okay, now it's here and one more. 190,438. 190,438. Okay, it's there. Now, since no HD map is in that area, we will need to pick them different way, which means I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna select unselect all first of all. No, not this one. I'm gonna load inventories into DCLCVP Higgins. So let's see. Higgins, nothing. He cannot see anything. And this one, nothing. 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 Oh, maybe its capacity is not enough. That's why he cannot see. Let's see that one. That thing first. Hig. CVP Higgins. Okay. 3000. Transport capacity. Well, it should be enough for the infantries, definitely. it doesn't show anything. Oh, no, sorry. Total weight of marine is 4,400. Way too heavy, I would say. So let's lower infantry weight. USA infantry, entrenched. This is bazooka. Okay. It says 1 ton, and it says we have 4 of these, 4,400. Okay. We could either lower that weight, or we could raise the weight loading capacity for the transport. Well, let's raise capacity. How much? Actually, if one platoon has 4 unit strength, we want to transport at least 3 of those. That means 3 times 4,400. So let's, in case they will carry some flak or something, let's add 15,000 kilos for everything. Now when we click this, we will apply these settings. We always need to refresh. So script takes different data from the database, and now you will see that our LS and our Higgins will be able to pick up some US troop. So let's do 3 of those and let's load them. Load, yes. 13,200. So we will be able to take some mortars and or some low flak. Heavier flaks will need to take their own LCVPs. So let's move to second one. Let me show you how it looks like when you want to load too much. It says loading aborted. So I need to remove one. Load, yes. Then third one. I'm gonna pause recording until I load all the infantries. All the infantry has been loaded to Higgins. So now we are doing different things. We will load these landing crafts onto LSDs, which are transport ships for landing crafts. Let's select this one, and we will simply load the crafts on it. As you can see over here, it's kind of bug in the SEOW system. We already loaded around 13,000 kilos onto this Higgins landing craft, but as you can see, it doesn't show the combined weight for the craft itself and for the cargo inside. It's kinda stealing 13,200 kilos in our case over here. Um, I'm gonna change. I'm not gonna do anything about that in this on this matter. I will just check how much things this LSD could load. 200,000. That means I could load a lot of these onto one ship. But like I said before, don't do that. Spread out your forces because it's risky to be hit by bomb, by a submarine, by kamikaze, or any other thing, and you will lose all the stuff in one ship. So spread out as much as you can. Over here I'm gonna take 4 of these, and also I'm gonna take 2 LVTs on one LSD ship. Okay, then I'm gonna take the second one and I'm gonna load on that one also for these amphibious vehicles. Load. I think I only have 2 of LSD, so I might go on the first one and load a little bit more of LCVPs. LSD1, 41. Yes, I have only those. Okay. I could also load them on the LSTs. Over here we could load 500,000 kilos on one LST landing ship tank. So let's see, 12 tanks on one. And then we will use some of the remainings to load landing crafts. And then we're gonna load more tanks to second one and some more landing crafts. You can do it the proper way and using only LSDs for landing crafts, because tanks are not meant, landing ship tanks here is not meant to land any landing craft. It's meant to drive tanks directly into the shore. Let's see. We could also take rockets. Corsairs, nothing. Okay. Now all the stuff has been loaded onto ships over here. we just need to make a task force, so all the ships are moving exactly like we were set them, and the separation we set on them in our initial adding them to the map. So however they were faced on the map, I mean however they were placed with separation, it was there on the mission we were built for additional forces. They will keep that separation over here. I will not care much at this particular moment, but in the real mission you need to recheck, make triple checks so they don't collide into each other. Over here the purpose was to show how to load them, not to make task forces, but over here we were paying attention not to overlap their directions or not to have them too close. So we will see what will happen with this group. Uh, Now let's go to task forces, create new task forces. We're gonna choose name. We're gonna choose the proper name for task force with the enterprise task group 58.4. Of course, not all the ships are in there, but I will show you how to do this. There we go. 58.4. Okay, leader will be enterprise. Where is it? Oh, here. Okay, so this is what we have around nearby: LST, 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 LST rockets, LSDs, and we're gonna check all of those and click commit. That's it. Now when I click on any of those, it will always point me to the leader. So any of those I click, it will point me to this enterprise. So you are not making 10 or 15 moves over here. You are making just one move, and all the forces will go information like we set them. Oh well, that's it. I will finalize this move. And now over here I'm gonna create British task force around Illustrious. Let it be Illustrious. See, British task force. Okay, let it be Illustrious task force. Of course, you can also dissolve task forces. As you can see over here, the leading ship is Enterprise, and if you want to show what's in there, you just need to click show task forces and you will see what's in that task force. Right now I want to make another task force. Leader Illustrious. I'm in admin mode at the moment, so I can see all the Japanese units. When you will be commanding just one with one army, you will see just your units, not the enemies. Okay, Javelin, King George, blah blah blah. Okay, commit. 21 member. And when I select any ship, it will always point me, like I said, to the leader. So if you are planning to come closer to the shore, of course these are too heavy ships, they are not meant to come close to the shore, but with landing things, in this case I cannot click come to the shore because there are some ships which are in front of my original leader, and that in that case those ships would enter the coastline. The ships will not collide with the ground like in reality. So keep that in mind. In this case, if I send them like that and I want, for example, the first one to come close to the shore, I would need to click more or less to this point with the leader, so the first one come to the shore. Okay, that concludes adding forces. Since it took a lot longer than I had expected, this video is going to be a huge one, and I won't continue with the dots. I will leave them for the next video. I'm hoping that I will make the next one by the end of August. We'll see. I don't promise anything. Even this is enough for making the campaign and enjoy flying the stuff. The rest of the thing, like creation of control points, industrial areas, will just add more immersion and some goals to the campaign itself. So thanks for watching and see you in the next video. Bye.